Yesterday, I talked about the need for congressional reform, and in some of the comments, people said the discussion has to include term limits. So let's go there. In the original Constitution, there were no term limits for any federal office. That was changed in 1951 with the passage of the 22nd Amendment, which set up term limits for the president. Of course, that followed Franklin Delano Roosevelt breaking precedents set by George Washington and running and winning 4 terms in office. The question today is, do we try to institute that for members of Congress as well? And it's a widely popular idea. It's often talked about. A lot of people are pushing for it. And one thing I like to remind people is that with all types of reforms, for all the positive benefits that can come out of them, there are also usually negatives as well. Just like in life, there are positives and negatives to most things, and for all actions, there are reactions. The same thing applies in politics. So since the positive aspects of term limits are so widely discussed, I want to talk a little bit about 4 of the negative consequences. Number 1, term limits take power away from the voters. You like your representative or your senator, you don't have the option of keeping them. Number 2, it forces good representatives, good senators to retire. Number 3, it disincentivizes our elected officials from becoming experts in a particular area of policy. And this is a real negative for all of us because we desperately need policy expertise in the U.S. Congress. And 4th, and probably the one that we don't talk about enough, is that when you take power away from the elected officials that we theoretically control via the electoral process or the ballot box, what you do is you empower unelected bureaucrats who are sitting in the U.S. Congress and who would then be the ones with the institutional knowledge as to how that place, that building, that branch of government runs. And of course, we don't control unelected bureaucrats. Heck, we don't even know their names. Because the reality, as we talk about rules about politics, another rule is if you take away power from someone or something or some entity, it does go somewhere else. And in this case, it would go to unelected bureaucrats.